Dag blanket.
Alrighty, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Let me bring this Beth Explorers up.
Hello, hello.
Alrighty. Well, shoot. Come on up now, dag blanket. Well, give me a minute, guys. We will do this. There it is. Alrighty. We got the Mythic Spoilers, and today's guest we have today is Bill Nye. How you doing today?
Hello.
How you doing today, Bill Nye?
I'm doing pretty good. Just did a spell table game with you. Feeling pretty good.
Yep. That was pretty fun, actually, and anybody's can join in. Alrighty, today is the 24th. So we got Murders at Karlov Manor Commander Daily Disguise spoiled today. Alright, then down here, Blame Game deck, the Blame Game Commander deck. Then let's go over yesterday's spoilers. I don't remember where I left off at from yesterday. I think we're going to start right here with Call a Surprise Witness. Call a Surprise Witness does one white. Dag blanket. It costs one generic, one white, sorcery speed. Return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, put a flying counter on it. It's a spirit in addition to its other type. What do you think about this, Bill Nye?
Well, I think that it's actually pretty good, because the Defiant counter is not ideal, but I just think returning something to the battlefield for that much of mana is honestly overpowered, because in a Reanimator deck, that's just amazing. That's like an Exhume, or other cards like that.
I think it's a great card. I'll give this a rating of being great because it's a reanimator. For anything with power with that mana value of 3 or less, you can reanimate and put a flying counter on it. That's pretty good.
That is like really good.
Okay. Next up we got Fade Flight. I'll let you take it.
Okay, so let's get here.
Yeah, I agree, Dan. Building spoilers are pretty good. I'm impressed.
Yeah, they're actually really good. You mind sharing the
You may have to pull it up or watch the stream on YouTube.
Yeah. Send the link over to me and DMs.
All right, let me see. Just give me a minute. Copy the link. Okay, there's a link to the stream here on your Discord.
Yep. Okie dokie.
All right. Yeah, that's actually what I was playing on Spell Table with Vampires, and they came out and beat butts. They beat dinosaurs and Rider Dravic.
Yeah, I actually played the Red Dravic. Great deck. Reanimator, which also Call of a Surprise Witness would actually do great in those kinds of decks.
Yep. I'm gonna let you take the next two cards, and I'll take the next two because I'm gonna run and grab me some batteries real quick for my vape.
Yeah. Okay, so we got here.
It's Fae Flight.
Fae Flight. Okay, so one blue, one colorless flash, enchant creature. When Fae Flight enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gets hexproof until end of turn. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. That's actually pretty good considering that, say, you have your commander and it's a huge value piece, like Avacyn, not Avacyn, but let's go with, say, the new blue Heliod, and you want to transform him. This is actually really good because for one blue and one colorless, you can give him hexproof and flying, +1/+0 until end of turn. I'm saying this is honestly good.
Okay, I'm back. What card are we talking about?
Faithlight currently.
Okay. I think this is a. I think it's a great protection card because it gives the hexproof.
Yeah, I was just bringing up the new blue Heliod, huge value piece in Enchantress decks. You can flash that out with Heliod if
Oh yeah.
someone targets it, which I think if someone like you're playing that kind of a value piece of commander, people are gonna want to kill it.
Yep. But as far as Fae Flight and Standard, I think it's going to be a great card.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take the next one since I'm back. Indicious Roots for a black and a green enchantments. Creature tokens you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Ooh. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 0/1 green plant creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each plant you control. Okay, we ain't got many plants in Standard. There might be 8 plants in all in Standard, but this can give a Teferi Stomper a +1/+1 because it is a plant dinosaur.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good.
And yeah, and,
Sorry.
and you put white in with this, and then you could add put some tokens along in with this, and overrun your field with tokens and have all the mana that you need to cast whatever you need.
Yeah, another card that I want to bring up is a card that was made originally in Worldwake, I believe. It is Zendikar Rescinded. So ETB, it costs a green, 2 green, 5. When it enters the battlefield, you make a 0/1 plant creature token for each land you control. So if you play that and then you have Indigenous Roots on the field, you're getting at least 9 mana, which I think is just pretty crazy.
Nice. Can we say Portal to Prexia next? Because that costs exactly 9.
Yeah.
Nice. I think this is a good, good card. Also, a great card. Also, better than good. I think it's going to the great tier. All right, you got the next one.
So we're on Wisp Drinker Vampire. Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so Whisper Drinker Vampire. Um, Orzhov. So white, black, and then 2 colorless. Flying. It's a 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That's actually really good. And
Hmm.
this this second ability that has creatures, so Orzhov, again, for the ability. White, black, 5. Creatures you control with power 2 or less gain death touch and lifelink until end of turn.
Ooh.
That's actually really good for multiple reasons.
Wow.
Because it has a lot of different ways to go. It's very flexible. So you could put it in a life drain deck, you could put it in a creature token Tessa deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because that drain ability is really good. Plus, the activated ability is pretty insane on top of that.
This card would actually work good in Lost Caverns Ixalan's vampire deck.
Yeah.
Because most of those vampires are less, or 1, 2, or less.
Mm.
So this is a great card. I need to get this card for my vampire deck.
Yeah, that would actually explode in your vampire deck.
Yep. All right, next up we got us a sideways card. I had to click on it to read it. Floatzam and Jetsam. Floatzam. Mill 3 cards, investigate. For 1 hybrid green, blue. Mill 3 cards, investigate. Nah, not too bad. And for Jetsam, it's 4 hybrid blue and black, hybrid blue, black. So for a total of 6, sorcery. Each opponent mills 3 cards. Then you may cast a spell from each opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If a spell cast this way we put into a graveyard, exile it instead. I believe this is a great card.
Well, for starters, it is 6 mana, so I'm gonna put this as a good, because there are multiple occasions where you can get something really good, like game ending, like if you get an Atali or something like that, that's game ending. But for 6 mana, if your opponents are playing, like, control, I mean, it's really good to get some, like, Rhystic Studies, stuff like that. But if you hit, like, a Ponder, then it just makes the card, like, decent at best.
Mm-hmm. But yep, that's a good. I think that's a good standard card.
Yeah, for standard, amazing. For other formats, But standard, yeah, that's game winning since you got Itali, stuff like that in standard right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, you got the next one. I don't know what this is. A great card. Krenko's Buzz Crusher. You want me to take them or
What card are we on?
Krenko's Buzz Crusher?
Ooh, okay, so 2 red, 2 colorless. Flying Trample, it's a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls. For each for each land destroyed this way, its controller may search its library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. I think this is honestly really good for standard, cause and commander. Don't get me wrong, because in commander and standard, you have all different kind of lands. Commander, I want to bring up like things like Ancient Tomb, Gaia's Cradle, stuff like that. That's just devastating if your opponent is playing a green token deck.
I agree. This is a great card. All right, next up we have Dramatic Accusation for 2 and a blue aura enchantment. Enchant creature when Dramatic Accusation enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. And you pay 2 blues and then shuffle the enchanted creature back into its owner's library. This, I mean, it's not putting the card into the graveyard or anything like that, but it taps a creature and it allows you to take that creature and put it back into the deck. Yeah, I think it's might be good.
I actually think this is a great card, because for 1 blue and 2 colorless, that's a huge value piece. Being able to shuffle the enchanted creature, which could be the biggest creature in your opponent's deck, into their library. And it doesn't untap on its controller's untap phase. That's huge if it's, say, a 15/15 World Spine Worm. So I think this is honestly a great card.
Okay. And we'll move on to the next one.
So, Tin Street Gossip. So, Vigilance, which you don't see a lot in Gruul. Red, green, and 2 for mana cost. Add 2, 2 mana. 1 red, 1 green. Spend this mana only to cast face down spells, or to turn face down creatures up. That's, I mean, I don't really like that, because it's very, you have to be a face down deck for that to work in your kind of deck.
Well, they're pushing face down a lot in this set.
Yeah.
And just to be able to tap this card and to flip them, I think this would be a great card. And not only that, this is a 4/4.
That is a 4/4 for 4. So, with Vigilance, may I add.
Yep.
So, pretty good creature. If you're playing a face down deck, that's going to be a staple.
Yep. I agree. I think it's a great card.
Well, you get the Spanish card next.
Yep.
Have fun.
All I gotta do is click on it. It'll interpret it. Unexpected setback for 2 blue instant. The owner of a target non-land spell or permanent puts the spell at the top or bottom of their library. So it throws your opponent behind 1 turn. Because I'll have to draw that card and play it again.
Yeah, as far as, I think this isn't really that good of a card. I think, honestly, I don't think it's that good.
I think it's a borderline good. I mean, it's not bad. So I'm going to give it a borderline good.
Well, it is technically not a counter spell. It's just putting them behind a turn. So, I'm going to give it a good. It's not great or anything like standard breaking. It's just setting your opponent 1 turn behind.
Yep. Ooh, you get the next hard one.
Okay, what have we got here?
You're looking at this through the stream, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. It's just a little behind. Ooh, we got another Spanish card. You want to click on it?
Yeah, I clicked on it for you.
Oh, sorry, streams.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting here. Okay, so, one white, two colorless, creature detective. Art human detective. Creature types. When it enters the battlefield, Um, and whenever you resolve a case, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal one enchantment card from among them. Put that into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any random order. You may use mana as if it were mana of any color to cast case spells. So let's pop up a case spell
Okay.
here. I'm gonna.
Let's see. Right. Go down. All right. Right here is a case spell.
So, it's getting there.
You may have to pull these up on your end. Might make it be a little easier.
Yeah, actually, you wanna go on Streamlabs and share that screen?
I'm sure. I mean, the best I can.
Okay, send the URL over just so I can see. Okay, so one white, enchantment case. When it enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. To solve, you have to gain at least 5 life this turn. Sacrifice this case, creature cards in your graveyard. You may cast the spell until end of turn from your graveyard. So case cards, you basically need to have a certain requirement to solve them. So I think that card for standard is going to be really good.
Yeah.
I honestly think that that's going to be really good for that kind of deck. Because you got stuff like value pieces with enchantments, up the beanstalk if you're playing like Bant, aggro with big creatures, I think is really good.
I want to give this card a good rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it
Borderline
good.
good. It ain't bad, but it ain't great either.
Yeah.
It's not a big game changer. Okay. Next up, we have Thinking Cap, and there is a card. One of these cards, I don't remember which one it is, but it will enable you to it fetches Thinking Cap and another card it fetches is Magnifying Glass. So here's the Thinking Cap. It costs 1 mana, colorless mana. And equip creature gets +1/+2. Equip the detective for 1. Equip any other creature for 3. So basically, all it does is just buff your creature up just a little bit. I want to give this probably maybe borderline good. I mean, it ain't great, but I'm gonna give it a borderline good because it ain't really that bad, but it ain't great. But it is. I think it is good, but just borderline.
Mm.
It's not much of a game changer.
Yeah. It's not really. I mean, equipped to a detective. So bringing back the last card that we got that we were at. Well, it just buffs them. So I don't really think it's that good, honestly. I mean, obviously people have their own opinions,
Right.
but I'm just giving it bad.
You gonna rate it as bad?
Yeah.
See, all this is, folks, is just our opinions about the cards.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just opinions. All right, the next card is Soul Innervation for 3 and a black enchantment with Flash. When Soul Innervation enters a battlefield, target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life and gains 1, and you gain 1 life. I think this is a great card.
Yeah, I actually really like this card. For many reasons. It has flash, and it just you can get rid of a 4/4. So I think that's really good. Plus the second ability is just amazing.
Yep. So let's get rid of a 4/4 for 4. Not bad removal at all.
Yeah. Plus, it does have an effect kind of like Meat Hook Massacre. I'm not saying that it's as good as Meat Hook Massacre, but it's sort of like it.
Well, it only gets rid of 1 creature. Meat Hook
Yeah.
Master got rid of multiple creatures.
Yeah.
So I can't compare it to Meat Hook, but it's good. Still, it's good removal though.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so next card we got is Person of Interest. So 1 red and 3 colorless. It is a creature, human, rogue, 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, suspect it.
Hmm.
Create a 2/2 white and blue detected creature token. I think that's pretty good, because for 4 mana you get 2 power on 2 creatures. So it's not easy to block with 1 creature, obviously, but I think it just gives you more flexibility in a creature. What do you think? I'm gonna give this a good.
I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a good, medium good, because it's not. It's better than, way better than bad, because you get the total power of 4 on the battlefield,
Yeah.
and so you,
Plus, do remember that Person of Interest does have Menace,
yep,
but it can't block, which is a bit of a downside, but when you're getting that much value for 4, I don't think that really matters.
right. So yeah, I think this is good.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link in Discord to the site.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right
All right.
now.
Next up, we have Reasonable Doubts. 1 generic of 1 blue. Instant. Counter target spells unless its controller pays 2. Then suspect up to 1 target creature. This, I mean, we got all kinds of counter spells in standard right now that does the same thing as this. But this will just go along with those. I'm just going to say this is a great, well, borderline great, because we already got a lot of counters in standard right now.
Do be aware, it does give any target creature, so Menace. So if you're playing Simic, say, with one of the new dinosaurs, and you want to add a control aspect, but you also want to stay on topic with your dinosaurs and punch in face. I think giving it Menace and Can't Block is pretty good for 2 mana, plus you counter a spell.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give this um a really good. So it's not like
I mean,
great, but it's close.
yeah, it's real close to being great.
Okay, so next we got Inside Source. So 1 white, 2 colorless. Creature human citizen. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white and blue detective. So 3 for the second ability. 3 colorless, tap it, target detective you control gets +2, +0, and gains vigilance until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. I think this is really good.
Yeah, I think it's a. I think it can go on the low end of great. I mean, yeah, it's a 1/1. Dies real easy, like from cut down. But I think it's on the borderline of being great. Because you do get a power, because if it does stay on the battlefield, all you gotta do is pay that 3 to give that token +2, make that token a 4/2.
Yeah, so that's 5 power in total, which I think is pretty good.
Yep. All right, next up, we got Toxin Analysis for 1 black mana. Instant. Target creature gains Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn, and then investigate. This high good.
Yeah, so for 1 black, also, I want to point out, it gains Death Touch, and you investigate, and lifelink. I think this is high good as well, because that gives you card draw as well for later turns. So, lifelink, also some life, maybe,
Yeah,
but just a pretty good, like, you swing at me with your biggest creature, it's dead now, and I also get card draw.
correct. And you gain life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a high good.
So, for our next card, we got Breakout. So, Gruul. So, 1 red, 1 green. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. If that card has mana value 2 or less, you may put it onto the battlefield. It gains haste until end of turn. If you didn't put the revealed card onto the battlefield this way, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any random order. I
Hmm.
think this is good because it's kind of like, I wouldn't want to say it's a tutor, but it lets you look at the top 6 cards. So I think it's pretty good because also put a creature with mana value 2 or less onto the field. I think that's really good because we got stuff like currently in standard.
I think this is a great card.
Yeah, I'm gonna rate this. Um, I think this is great, but it could, like, you could replace it with something better.
Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to give this a great because you do get to tutor through 6 cards.
Yeah.
Anytime you can look through your deck, to me it's considered a great card.
Yeah, I think that's honestly pretty good, but it can't get stuff. If it was 1 mana more of creatures, I know that would be most likely a rare at that point, but do keep in mind, Monastery Mentor would be a huge hit off of that.
Yep. All right. Let's go to, I think these were released today. All right. Next up, we'll go. Come on. There we go. Disturbing Explosion. For 2 blue and red. Is it sorcery? Draw 2 cards, then you may discard 2. When you do, Disturbing Explosion deals X damage to each creature where X is equal to the highest mana value among those cards discarded.
Huh.
Ooh, this is great.
That is honestly huge in Izzet deck. Because if you, or not any Izzet, but like, if you're playing huge creatures in standard, there are a lot of huge creatures that you can just board wipe immediately with this. Um, like I keep pointing out Itali. I love Itali. It just works in so many different ways. But yeah, I think this is really good. I think this is great.
Okay. Your turn.
Okay, so for the next card we got do right here. Mhm.
Hmm. Did you find it?
No, I did not. Apparently.
Okay. You want me to go ahead then?
Yeah.
All right, we got for 3 generic and a black, slippery double-headed leech. And at the beginning of combat, on your turn, target creature you control with power 2 or less gets +1/+0 and has death touch to end of turn. So those creatures that you have that's flipped down, they are 2/2s with ward. So this right here will give one of them a +1/+0 and death touch until end of turn.
Yeah,
I think this card is good.
I would agree. I think this is good. Just there is, I want to point out, a lot of things that care about power and toughness. So if you build tiny creatures, so just go wide, I think this will work really well with um, that kind of build.
Mm-hmm. Let me know when you find cards. next,
Yeah.
next we have Observant Onlooker for 1 generic and a black creature vampire with flying. And then for 2 black, exile Observant Onlooker from your graveyard. Create 2 tap 1/1 black bat creature tokens with flying. So this is a 1/3, and it replaces itself with 2 1/1s. It's okay. I mean, it's filler. It's a filler.
Mm.
I think it's just.
Yeah, I don't really think that's too good, honestly.
I think it's. I want to rate this as bad. It needs death touch. Alrighty. Next we have Isilet's Masquerade for 3 and black for a total of 4. It's an enchantment with flash. When illicit masquerade enters the battlefield, put a counterfeit counter on each creature you control. Okay. Whenever a creature you control with a counterfeit counter on it dies, exile it and return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Huh.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a great card because let's say you got a big old creature in the graveyard, and then you got a bunch of 1/1s or 2/2s on the battlefield. You flash this in, you give that creature a counterfeit counter, it dies, then you get your then once it dies, it gets exiled. Then when it gets exiled, you get to bring your big old creature back to the battlefield.
Mm.
Not bad. I want to rate this as a great card for 4 mana, and just because of that flash ability.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that. I think I'm gonna give it a great, honestly.
Let me know when you're caught up.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's alright. Vengeful Tracker. One generic and a red human detective. Whenever an opponent sacrifices an artifact, Vengeful Tracker deals 2 damage to them. Nice. So when they sacrifice their clue tokens, investigate tokens, then they will take 2 damage when this is out on the battlefield, and it comes out with 2. One generic, one red, and this is a 2/2. I want to rate this as a great card for mono red. I mean, what do you think? I honestly think it's going to be a great card. All right, next up, I don't know where he went. You still there?
You there?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay.
Got disconnected somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
All right. Next up, what do you think about Vengeful Tracker?
So I think it's okay. Um, I don't really. I can see it in a deck, but I just think it's honestly great for many reasons because red doesn't have it.
Red's got something similar to this, but has to deal with artifacts. They
Yeah,
sacrifice an
that's
artifact, and I think it's going to be great because everybody's going to be trying those
new clue aspects. Yeah,
exactly. So when they try that clues, this is out on the battlefield, they take 2 damage every time they crack one of those clues.
yeah, that just kind of shuts off a lot of kind of decks because we got a bunch of food, um, bunch of food cards in Wilds of Eldraine. So I just think this is really good for standard and where it's at right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And the next up, we have the chase is on for two generic, 1 red. Instant. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn and then investigates.
Hmm.
Again with the investigate, so that's going to work great. I think
Yeah, that's pretty good.
because this you can cast this on on this Vengeful Tracker. That Vengeful Tracker is going to become a 5/2. So yeah, that's gonna be a good. I
Yeah,
think it's a
that's
I think it's a great
really
card.
good. Just because, like we all said before this, the set really cares about having power 2 or less. So I think this card is going to be really good for that kind of deck aspect.
Next up, we got us a reprint. Murder
Murder.
for 1 black. For 1 generic and 2 black. Destroy target creature. That's all there is to it. It's still a good card, but there's cheaper removal. So this is going to go to a good rating instead of not bad, because it ain't bad, but it ain't great.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a good. I'll take the next one, but yeah, there's nothing really to say on Murder. It's been printed a lot.
Yes, it
We
has.
all mostly know what it does. Okay, so we got unauthorized exit. So one colorless, one blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Surveil one. I think this gives a lot of value because you get to surveil one, which is allegedly scrying, but instead of putting it on the bottom, you put it into your graveyard. So I think this is really good because it bounces, and then you get to manipulate the top of your library essentially.
I think this is going to be I'd give it a great rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a high good just because it's okay.
All right, next we have On the Job. Two generic and two whites. Instant. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn, then investigate. I'm gonna say good on this.
Yeah,
Anytime you can, buff up your creatures, I'm gonna say it's good.
yeah, buffing is gonna be pretty good in this set, given that it's gonna have a lot of small creatures, and it's gonna care about a lot of small creatures. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a good.
Exactly, Johnny. Clue and or treasure cracking. That vengeful tracker will definitely shut those off.
Yeah. Okay, so next we got Audience with Trussanti. Trusani. Trust, huh.
Say it the best you can. I have trouble saying words myself sometimes.
Trosanti. So one green and two colorless create a 0/1 green plant creature token. Then draw cards equal to the number of differently named creature tokens you control. I think in token decks, this is going to do really well. If you're not building around tokens, I don't really think it has a place in your deck. But I think this is going to be really good for standard.
I agree. I'm gonna give this a good rating because it's. I mean, you do get a 1/1. I mean, 0/1 out of it, so you do get a blocker. But however, the draw is not really there unless you're playing tokens.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's great for tokens, but only bad for anything else.
Yeah. I agree.
So I would give this card here a bad rating unless you're playing tokens.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a bad because there's not really that many decks that are in standard that you're gonna play that really care about getting differently named tokens. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it a plain out bad.
Right. Next, we have Slice from the Shadows for X and a black. This spell can't be countered. Great. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. Very good spot removal here. Very good. I mean, it's a great spot removal because it cannot be countered.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Um, it can't be countered, which Bill already covered that. But -X until end of turn is pretty good as well. Um, if you have if your opponent has maybe like super good 3/3, you can put 4 into that, get rid of it. So I think I'm gonna give it a really good.
I'm gonna give it a great rating because it does get over through indestructible. Because
Yeah,
you're giving that creature -X. You're not targeting that. You're not destroying that creature. You're just giving it the -X. So I'm gonna have to give this a great rating.
yeah. So for the next card, we have Reenact the Crime. Exile target non-land card in a graveyard that was put there from anywhere this turn. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost for 3 blue and 1. I think if you're playing a copy deck, or if you're trying to steal your opponent's great cards, like if you want, say,
She,
your own
she holder it.
vengeful, yeah, Shieldred, which is also really good. But if you want, say, your own vengeful tracker, um, you can get that. Shieldred is something to point out. We do really like Shieldred. For this, I think Shieldred would do like game-ending stuff with this kind of card if you're playing control with that card in it. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a plain out great.
My rating on this card, I'd have to give it a great also. Anytime you're stealing your opponent's creatures from their graveyard, and you're putting it on your side of your battlefield, it's got to be great.
And Bill, don't forget, it is an instant.
Correct. It is an instant. So yeah, it's a great card. For 4 mana, a great rating on that card. All right, next we have Coerce to Kill, Dimir. 3 generic, black and a blue. Enchantment or enchant creature. You control enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has base power and toughness 1/1, has death touch, and is a assassin in addition to its other types. Enchanted creature, you control enchanted creature. So you can steal, this is a steal card. You play this on one of your opponent's creatures. Yes, it turns into 1/1 with death touch. But let's say they got shouldered out on their side of the battlefield. You play this, that shoulder turns into a 1/1, and you gain control of it. And you get, and of course, shoulder already has death touch, but you give, whatever creature you steal a death touch and turn it into a 1/1. Yeah, it'll be easy kill, but still, you're either making them get rid of the creature, or not only that, if they can't, if they don't target it and they attack, you steal it, and then you steal it, they had to either remove it or attack with another creature, and you block with it, and you kill their creature and your little 1/1 death toucher. This is on borderline great. No, I'm gonna give this a great rating.
Yeah, I think for 5, if you're taking something really good like Shieldred, for instance, it's gonna be great in standard. It doesn't really have a home for maybe Commander, but other than that, it's not gonna really see play in any other formats, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So next we got Anzarax Rampage. So sorcery, red, and then 3. Destroy all artifacts you don't control. Then exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts that were put into the graveyard from the battlefield this turn. You may put target creature card exiled this way onto the battlefield. It gains haste. Return to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. I think this is great. This is kind of like a Vandal Blast, but you exile the top X cards, where X is the number of artifacts you destroyed this way. I think this is plain out amazing. And you can put a creature into your hand that way.
Not only that, you destroy all artifacts you don't control. So all your artifacts are safe. I want to give this probably a good rating, because if your opponent doesn't have any artifacts, then this pretty much flops.
Yeah, this is more of a sideboard card, in my opinion.
I agree. So I'm going to give it a good rating. Not a bad rating, but not a great rating, but a good rating.
Definitely will see play in a lot of mono-red Commander decks, though.
Oh, yeah. All right, next up, we got us a Golem. Gravestone Strider for 2 generic. It's a 1/3 Pay 1, add 1 mana of any color. Activate only once each turn. Okay, so it's a mana fixer. Pay 2, exile Greystone Strider from your graveyard. Exile target card from a graveyard. Okay, so it's a little bit of graveyard hate here. It's a 1/3. Yeah, this is a good card.
Yeah, I like that. Just because if you're playing like some kind of graveyard stuff, you can exile from your graveyard and exile a card from graveyard. I'm not saying that it's like you should put it in all the standard decks just because it's colorless, but I think it's a good card.
Because, right now with this new set coming out, you got a lot of evidence collecting, which that's exiling cards from your graveyard. This will interfere with that.
Yeah, so if someone um attempts to put something into exile, you can in response put it into exile first, so they don't get their card.
Hmm.
So, next up we got Crowd Control Warden. So, it is a Centaur Soldier, and it costs 1 green, 1 white, and 3 colorless. As it enters the battlefield, or is turned face up, put X plus encounters on it, where X is the number of other creatures you control. And it has Disguise, so you may cast that for face down for 3. And you can face up it for either a green or a white, and 3 colorless. So I think this is really good for 5 mana for a common. If you're playing again creature tokens, I think this is going to be really good because you get a 4/4 for 5 that can be pumped up to whatever the number of creatures you control is. So it's also in white, so paired with um, Monastery Mentor. This is going to be a really good card, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a borderline great.
Yeah.
Because if you cast this as a 2/2 with Ward 2, it's still gonna get targeted. But if it survives and you pay that 5 the very next turn, then that'll make it great. Next up, we have Make Your Move for 2 and a white. Instant. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. This is a great card. Just like you cast that Crowd Control Warden, your opponent can cast Make Your Move and go ahead and destroy it. So yeah, I'm gonna give this Make Your Move a great rating. It destroys, 3 different things. What do you think about it?
I think it's pretty good. Make your move. So, I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, Up the Beanstalk is a card that I want to point out. That's doing really good in standard. Um, it's not really like that good. It's very specific, so I think this is a sideboard card, but I don't really think it's gonna have a place other than the sideboard and in Commander.
I want to disagree there because I think it's a great card because it'll take care of you hold it. That's causing problems in standard right now, and it can take care of a lot of problems because you get to destroy an artifact, an enchantment, or a creature. That's what makes it so good. That's why I'm giving it a great rating. And what rating are you going to give it?
I'm gonna give it very good. I'm not gonna give it a great because it's very specific with the power 4 or greater.
Okay. Just because we're rating these doesn't mean that they're good, or it doesn't mean they're bad. I mean, this is just our opinions.
Yeah, we do this for fun just to go over the new sets and see what we're going to be playing.
Exactly.
And show you guys some stuff that you may want to play.
Exactly.
So, next we got Cold Case Cracker. So, it's a spirit detective, 1 blue and 3 colorless. Flying. When it Cold Case Cracker dies, investigate. I don't really think this is that good. I mean, it's a 3/3 for 4, which it doesn't with flying, so it doesn't really pass the vanilla rule. It investigates when it dies, so it's a chump blocker. I don't really think this is that good. I'm gonna give it a bad.
Um. Well, I'm gonna give it just a borderline good. I mean, it's not real good. But it's not real bad. I mean, what helps it is it's flying.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just borderline good. Then that means it's not really good, but it's not really bad either. That's my opinion about it.
Mm.
All right, next up we got Cerebral Sophistication. 2 generic, 1 black, sorcery. Choose 1. So you got 2 things to choose from. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. A player discards that card. So this is like turn 1. Anyway, yeah, something like that. So, for 3 mana, I want to say this is bad because there's better cards that cost 1 mana that does the same thing.
Yeah, but some of those cards at least, aren't in standard. I mean, you got Duress, which
Well, that's
okay. But like Thoughtseize, you don't have.
Right, but we got Duress that's only costs 1 mana, and that does the same thing. And that's the card I was thinking about. Couldn't think of the name of it, but yeah, Duress does the same thing as this. This is 3-cost Duress, with the exception of making your opponent discard 2 cards. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a bad rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it bad. I don't really think that it's that good. But like, it is a reveal your hand, so even if you don't see that many things that are good, I mean, if they tutored with Breach of the Mirror, that's a good card to play next.
Yep.
But and then that, it's not really that good.
Exactly. All right.
So, for our next, we got Unscrupulous Agent. So, it is an elf detective. 1 black, 1 colorless. When it enters the battlefield, exile target card. Exile target opponent's. Wait, target opponent exiles a card from their hand. Sorry about that. So, it's kind of like a randomized discard effect. But if they really only have 1 card in their hand, and say it's a shielder that they wanted to save, you're getting rid of that. So for that reason, I'm going to give this borderline good, just because I think it's okay.
I'm going to give this a borderline great, because there's ways to blink this card to make your opponents exile their card in their hand.
Yeah.
This would be great in a blink deck. But that's one reason why I just say borderline great. Other than that, it's not really that good.
Yeah, I agree. But, like, it's borderline good, I think, honestly. But, like, I don't think it's great. I think it's a very good, like, in the moment kind of card if your opponent only has like one or two cards in their hand. But that's just my opinion.
Right. That's all I'm doing is giving my opinion. All right, next we have suspicious detonation for 4 generic and 1 red sorcery. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you sacrifice an artifact this turn. This spell cannot be countered. Face it, suspicious detonation does 4 damage to target creature. Okay, so this is wanting you to sacrifice a clue. So you play this, you sacrifice a clue, and then you can cast this for 2. Then it does 4 damage to target creature. Yeah, I want to say this is good.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Just because with the amount of clues in there in this set, I think it's decent. But it doesn't really, unless you're playing a clues deck or you have ways to make clues. I think this is. I mean, it can't be countered, so I think it's okay. I'm gonna give it with. I'm gonna hit it with a good, honestly.
But you can go up to great because, thinking about it, if you sacrifice an artifact, you can sacrifice a clue, change that clue to a red, and play this for 2. The more I think about it, it's going up or to great.
I mean, it doesn't deal with like Shieldreds or anything, but it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, more like borderline great.
Okay, so for the next card, we got Forum Familiar. So it is 1 white. It is a creature cat with disguise. 1 white. Or a colorless and 1 white. So when it is turned face up, return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. Huh. And put a plus 1/+1 counter on for unfamiliar. I don't really think this is that good unless you're playing like an ETB value deck with like Elishnorn and stuff. I don't really think this is that good. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I can see like people putting it in like an Atraxa ETB deck. But other than that, I don't really think it's that much to talk about.
I
I'm gonna give
think
it a good.
you want to give it a good. I'll
Yeah.
give this card a great because it is a protection card. You can pay that disguise cost at any time, and when you pay that disguise cost, you bounce a creature that your opponent's trying to kill, and then this turns into a 2/2.
Yeah, that's honestly. I didn't really think about it that way, but I just think that it's good under the instant that you're trying to blink or bounce Atraxa back to your hand. But other than that, I don't really think it's that good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna give this a great rating. And you said your rating on this was what, good?
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have perimeter enforcer. Perimeter enforcer. For 1 generic, 1 white, human detective with flying and lifelink. That's a 1/1 with flying and lifelink. When another detective enters the battlefield under your control, and whenever a detective you control turns face up, Perimeter Enforcer gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This card here, bad.
Yeah, I don't really think it's that much to talk about. I think it's honestly bad.
All right. And we'll go on up to Commander. Blame game. This is the some of the cards in the blame game. Commander deck.
Okay. So let's just take a look at this really quick. Hopping on over. Do-do-do.
Excuse me.
Do-do-do-do.
Hmm.
Do-do-do-do-do.
You want me to start this section off?
Yeah, if you can start that off, that would be great.
All right. Redemption Arc. For 2 generic, 1 white. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has indestructible and is golded. Then you can pay 1 generic and a white to exile enchanted creature. So you play this on one of your opponent's creature, give it indestructible. It can attack all players except for you. Cannot attack you. So yeah, this is. I want to give that a great rating on that card. It's a good card.
I'm just gonna go with a good, honestly. I don't really think it's that good.
I think it's a great card because they cannot attack you with their creature. And it has to attack.
Yeah, that is something.
Okay. Let me know when you want to jump in. It's Trouble in Pairs for 2 generic and 2 white enchantment. If opponent would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. Whenever a player attacks you with 2 or more creatures, or draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card.
That's actually pretty good.
Yep. Okay. Take the next one, or you want me to take it still?
I think you're gonna have to take it.
All right. Take the baits. 2 generic, 1 red, 1 white instant. Cast this spell only during an opponent's turn and only during combat. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you and planeswalkers you control this turn. Untap all attacking creatures and gold them. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Oh. This is so good. That's a good instant. Because you stop your opponents from attacking you, then there's another combat phase, but they cannot attack you on the second combat phase because they're golded. Very good card.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
That's got to be a great rating on that.
I'm gonna give it a great.
Next one, we have a Artifact Clue Ransom Note. 1 generic. When Ransom Note enters the battlefield, surveil 1. Pay 2, sacrifice Ransom Note, choose 1. Cloak the top card of your library, gold target creature, or draw a card. That's got to be a great.
Yeah, I'm on where you're on right now. I think that's really good.
Okay.
So, we got Prisoner's Dilemma. So, each opponent secretly chooses Silence or Snitch. Then, the choices are revealed. If each opponent chooses Silence, Prisoner's Dilemma deals 4 damage to each of them. If each opponent chooses Snitch, Prisoner's Dilemma deals 8 damage to them. Otherwise, Prisoner's Dilemma each deals 12 damage. Who chose silence?
Oh,
That's Jesus Christ. That's so good.
yeah, that's a great card. And it also has flashback for 7.
Wow, I didn't even see that.
Wow.
That is a lot of damage.
Yes, it is. That's got to be great. I mean, they're either attacking 4, 8, or 12. Nice. Each opponent secretly chooses silence or snitch. Then the choices are revealed. If each opponent chooses silence, prisoners down the deals 4 to each of them. So I would choose silence. If each opponent chooses snitch, it deals 8 damage to each of them. I wouldn't choose snitch. Otherwise, prisoner's damage chooses 12 damage. Does 12 damage to each opponent who chooses silence. So so they choose snitch, silence, or snitch. I'm just trying to.
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure this is a ruling on this card. So if each opponent chooses silence, or if each opponent chooses snitch. So I think if you don't choose snitch, and so say me, you, Tortoise plays Prisoner's Dilemma, I choose silence, you choose snitch, I take 12 if we don't all agree.
Oh. Yeah, this is a great commander card.
Yeah, I think this is gonna see a lot of play in Commander.
Yep. So all these cards we're going over right now are commander cards. All right, next up we got Outer Worldly Escort for 3 generic and a white human detective with flash 4/3. When Otherworldly Escort dies, if it is not a spirit, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with 4 charge counter on it. It's a spirit detective. And pay 1 and a white and tap it, and remove a charge counter from Outerworldly Escort. Destroy a target creature that dealt damage to you this turn. Oh, that is so good. I'm gonna give this just a good rating. I mean, it's a good card, but I'm just gonna give it a good rating for now.
Yeah, I think this is I think it's just great, honestly. I think it's gonna do good in a lot. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it great.
Okay, I'm gonna give it good.
Okay, so you wanna say the next one while I
Sure.
do something really quick?
Mob Verdict for 2 generic and 2 reds. Sorcery has a secret council. Each player secretly votes for another player. Then the votes are revealed. For each vote an opponent received, Mob Verdict deals 2 damage to that player and each creature that player controls. For each vote you receive, draw a card. So it's going to do some. It's a pretty good card, especially if somebody's running low creatures, low creature, low creature deck.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good.
Yep.
If you get like, if you say like, oh, I'll if you guys vote for me, none of your creatures will take damage. but you'll get to draw cards. But if the table's like 2 token decks and then they have like a small Bowmasters or something, I think this card would be really good for uh for just like talking about it and like politicking.
I think this is going to be a great card because it allows you to draw.
Yeah. So for the next, we got Immortal Obligation. So it is 1 white and 1 colorless. Instant. Return target creature from an opponent's graveyard to the battlefield under their control with a duty counter on it. For as long as that creature has a duty counter on it, it is goaded. Can't attack you or permanents you control. Can't block creatures you control. That is, I think, for 1 white and 1 colorless, that is really good for like a white deck or anything like that.
I was rate this as a bad card.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because you get, let's say you're, if it has ETBs or not or your opponent still gets ETBs. Let's say it's a creature that pings you and all your opponents. It will still ping you.
Yeah.
It can't attack you, but it still ping you.
I just want to point out, there are creatures like that, but I think this is a really good card because, it's very flexible. So if your opponent's playing a graveyard deck, if you're playing, say, targeted removal, and you use that, I think that's just really good.
I'll give it a good rating, but not a great rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it very good. So not great, but it has its place in a lot of formats.
This is one card I would take out of the commander deck. All right, next up we have Hot Pursuit for 1 generic, 1 red enchantment. When Hot Pursuit enters the battlefield, suspect target creature opponent controls. As long as Hot Pursuit remains on the battlefield, that creature is also goaded. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if 2 or more players have lost the game, gain control of all goaded and or suspected creatures until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. Yeah, I think this is a good card. I think this is a great card.
I think this is a really good card for a finisher.
Yep.
In Commander, because if you've killed 2 players already, and you play that, you goad all of you go the big creature, and then you go to combat, all your other opponents are dead, you swing with like a Galta, something like that, something huge, and then you just win the game.
Exactly. So yeah, I think this would be a great card.
So really good finisher. Not gonna see a lot of play other than Commander.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can't play this in Standard.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying modern stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see this being played a lot in Commander. All right. Okay.
So, for the next one, we have Havoc Eater. So, 2 red, 5 colorless, flying. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, goad up to 1 target creature that opponent controls. Put X +1/+1 counters on Havoc Eater, where X is the total power of creatures goaded this way. Holy crap! That is so good.
At first, when I looked at this card, it's a 3/3 for 7. That would make me throw this into the bad slot. But since you can put X 1/1 counters on it, that moved us all the way up to great.
Yeah, because Um, if you were playing, say, if we're me again, for instance, me, you, and then Taurus. I use Red Drabic. I make my Nazgul. You goad that, and you put 25,000 plus one counters. I think this is just gonna be so fun at our table, honestly.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So Havoc Eater, I'm going to give that a great rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a great rating as well. I think this is gonna see a lot of play in Commander.
Next up, we got Feather Radiant Arbiter for a red whites. Legendary creature Angel with flying and lifelink 4/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell that targets only Feather Rated Arbiter, you may choose any number of other creatures that spell could target and pay 2 for each of those creatures. If you do, for each of those creatures, copy that spell. Nice.
That is pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is a great card.
I'm gonna give it a great as well. I just think that this is gonna be really good in Boros aggro decks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, probably some like Narset decks for Jeskai. I think this is really good.
I am definitely planning on getting this commander deck.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see how you build it, and most likely gonna be Boros aggro, um, stuff that like maybe draws you cards and gives like island walk. Like I know there are some cards that do that.
Yep.
Um, but if you copy it, you get to draw 2 cards. If you copy it 2 more times, you get to like. I just think that's really good.
Yeah, I do too. But the name of this commander deck right here is called Blame Games. Where's that Karloff Manor Commander? Blame Game. I'm definitely going to get the Blame Game commander deck. I like it.
Yeah, I think I might pick one up. So for our next card, we got the Deep Clue Sea, Murder at Karlov Manor, Commander Precon. So we got Tangle Trove Kelp. So it is 1 blue, 2 blue, 5 colorless. Ward 2, it's a 6/6. It is an artifact creature clue plan. Huh. So just want to point out before we get into the card, new creature type. That's really cool. So at the beginning of combat, other clues you control become 6/6 plants in addition to their types until end of turn. Pay 2, sacrifice it. Tangletrove, Kelp, draw a card.
I
This is
don't.
amazing for a clue deck for Commander.
Yeah, I definitely will not be sacrificing this 6/6 unless I really had to. But for a 6/6 for 7, that turns all your other clues into 6/6 into 6/6s. Definitely a great card.
I just want to point out the Doctor Who precon, the historic one that makes a bunch of clues with its white commander. I think that would be a really good deck to put that in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to the next one. Bill, you're up.
Serene Sleuth for 1 generic, 1 white, 2/2. When Serene Sleuth enters the battlefield, investigate. At the beginning of combat on your turn, investigate for each goaded creature you control. Then each creature you control is no longer goaded. Gold removal. Nice.
That is pretty good for this new commander decks.
Yeah. Since this card right here, I'm rated as high good because it is a 2/2 for 2, which is good for 2/2. But that ability to remove the goaded from your creatures, so yeah, it's great for that. kind of weak, so I'm gonna rate it as a good card. Not a great, but a good.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. I think I'm gonna give it for this type of like playing like if you're all playing precons at the table, I think this is gonna be really good since there's so much gold in this. I'm gonna give it a great.
All right.
So moving on the trail. So one green, one colorless. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, um you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. This is really good ramp for green, I think.
Well, I I want to rate this as bad. What if you
Really?
ain't? Yeah, because what if you ain't got that land card in your hand? I mean, if you got a way to draw, then yes, that would make it go into a great.
I just want to point out that are cards like Burgeoning, that whenever your opponent plays a land, you may put a land down. That is a great card, but it also matters if you have lands in your hand. I think this is great because it is sort of like a Burgeoning, only whenever you draw your second card, which there is a lot of card draw in Commander, so I think this is gonna see a lot of play. I think this is great.
Okay, I'm just going to say good. All right. Next up, we have Unconscious Researcher for 3 generic and a green, 3/4 Centaur Detective with Parlay. Whenever Inquisitor Researcher attacks, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you investigate. Then each player draws a card. At the beginning of your end step, you may untap all lands you control. If you do, you can't cast spells until your next turn. Till your next turn. Yeah. I mean, it's good for the investigate, but bad for casting. I mean, you can untap your lands, but what good is that going to do if you can't cast spells till you get your next turn? Definitely bad.
I mean, I do want to point out this might be a good card to like put in Kinnan decks, because you don't cast spells off of the activation. I think this is really good for that kind of reason, for like activating abilities.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be good for activating abilities, but that's it.
Yeah, other than that, I don't think it's going to see much play. So, next card we got Merchant of Truth. So, 2 white, 2 colorless, flying Angel Detective, and it is a 2/5. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate. What? Clues you control have exalted. Huh. That is really, I think that's really good.
Yeah, this I'm gonna give it a great rating for this creature here.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that great, because if you are, if you're playing like Radravic, which me and Bill did play today on Spell Table.
Hillbilly.
Um so yeah, I think this is gonna go into that deck, honestly. I think this is really good.
Yep.
Also,
I'll
if
give
you
it.
guys would like to play with us on Spell Table, we'll send a link in Discord.
Yep. All you gotta do is click on the Discord link, join the Discord right there in the chat.
Yep. So, you're up, Bill?
Let's see. Knowledge is power for 3 generic white and blue enchantment. Creatures you control get +X, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. This would be a great card if there's a lot of card draw in the deck. Other than that, it's just a good card.
Yeah, I think this is honestly going to be an Azorius staple, because in Commander there are a lot of instances of card draw in white and blue. For instance, Esper Sentinel, Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, sorry. So I think you're going to be drawing a lot of cards if you put this into your deck, and you're going to get a lot of power on the board.
And it does not say creatures you control get +X/+X for X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. I guess they lose a +X/+X till next turn. You got to be drawing a lot of cards.
Yeah. If you're playing, there is some commanders where this is gonna be good, but I'm gonna give it an honest good. If you're not playing like Azorius card draw, I don't really think you're gonna want to play this in the deck. That is my opinion. But if you're playing like Windfall, all that kind of good stuff, you're gonna want that in your deck.
I agree.
So moving on, Follow the Bodies. Ooh. So blue and 2 colorless Gravestorm. When you cast this, copy it for each permanent put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn. Investigate. Create a clue. So you investigate, and then for each permanent put into the graveyard, you copy it. I don't think this is that good because it is maybe for like Dimir sacking. I don't really think this is that good, honestly. For anything else.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a bad, honestly.
All right, next we got Detective of the Month.
Congratulations.
two generic and 1 blue, 2/3 human detective with Ascend. Ascend is when you have 10 permanents on the battlefield. As long as you have City's Blessing, you get that when you get Ascend. As long as you have City's Blessing, detectives you control cannot be blocked. Whenever you draw your second card, each check this turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. This deck here has to have a lot of draw in it. And not all of these cards have been spoiled yet, so right now this is just a good card.
Yeah, I don't really think it's that good, honestly. I think it's okay. But congratulations, they got Detective of the Month. Kind of expensive to get the Ascend.
Well, not really. Lands count.
I mean, lands do count. But yeah, I like it. I think it's okay. I'm gonna hit it with a good.
Mm-hmm.
So, for our next one, Armed with Proof. So, white and 2 colorless. When Armored with Proof enters the battlefield, investigate twice. Clues you control are equipment in addition to their other types. With Equip 2, an equipped creature gets +2/+0.
Huh.
I think that's really good.
I do too. I think that's a great card. I think it's interesting. You can attach a clue token to your creature and give it +2. So
I think that's honestly great.
I do too. I think this is a great card because you can use any investigate token for this ability. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a great rating.
Yep. So for the next one, you're up.
The next one is Sophia, Dog Detective, for 1 generic, a green, white, and blue. This is probably the commander for this deck.
Yeah, I think it is.
Legendary creature, human detective. When Sophia, Dog Detective, enters the battlefield, create tiny and legendary 2/2 green Dog Detective creature token with trample. Pay 1, sacrifice an artifact token, put a +1/+1 counter on each dog you control. Nice. Whenever a dog you control deals combat damage to a player, create food token, then investigates. So you get an investigate and a food token.
So I think that's a lot of value for whenever a dog you control attacks. I think if you throw in a lot of dogs in green, white, or blue, you're gonna have a really good value on commander deck. Plus, I would keep like armored with proof, um, maybe detective of the month, stuff like that. I think this is gonna be a really good commander.
Oh yeah, definitely a good commander deck. All right.
Moving on, we have Revenant Recon. Murders at Karlov Manor commander deck. So we're looking at a Dimir commander list. And we have, for the first card, Counterpoint. Counter target spell. You may cast a creature, instant, or sorcery, or planeswalker spell from your graveyard with mana value less or equal to that spell's mana value without paying its mana cost. For 5. It's an instant. Blue, black, and 3. I think this is going to be really good.
I believe this is a great card.
I think in like a meal deck, like we just got the ancient one, which is a really good commander. So I think this is gonna be like one of that kind of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not counter target creature; it's counter target spell. So if you have 5 mana open and you're just like, okay, well, that costs 5 that you're casting. I'm gonna cast a 5-drop from my graveyard.
Yep. Very good counter spell. Very good.
Really good.
With the upside of being able to cast something from your graveyard for free.
Yeah.
All right, next we got Unshakable Tail for 2 generic and a black zombie detective. When Unshakable Tail enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. So at the beginning of every upkeep, you get to surveil 1. Nice. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into the graveyard from your library, investigate. So you can surveil all your creatures into your graveyard. When you do, you get a investigate a clue token. Pay 2, sacrifice a clue, return Unshakable Tail from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, nice. And this is a 3/2 creature. So it's going to be hard to get rid of as long as you got a clue. Nice. I'm going to give this since it's able to return from the graveyard, I'm going to give it borderline great. And especially since you're able to surveil too. So yeah. Surveil 1, I mean. Great. Yeah, I'm going to give it a borderline great.
I think this is really good. I think it's going to see a lot of play for Commander.
Yep.
Heads up. After this, Commander Precon, I am going to leave. I need to go eat, do stuff like that.
Okay. We only got 8 more cards to go.
Okay.
We can do these others tomorrow if you want to.
I mean, we can start at this Precon tomorrow. I'll probably be on tomorrow.
So you want to finish this set here, or Resident Recon, or you want to stop it here?
I mean, I'm good fun stopping it here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you jumping on the stream with me.
Yeah, anytime.
And we shall continue on with our spoilers tomorrow. And open invitations to anybody that wants to come on the stream and discuss the cards.
Yep.
And
also, we play Commander.
We also play. Yep. We also play Commander around 2:00 Central Standard Time. If you want to join in the game, make sure you sign up for it and the Discord. Discord links in the chat, and I'll drop it in again. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. But right after this, I'm gonna do another mail opening stream. Cause I just received some more mail. Dag blaggit. It ain't ever going to end today. Anyway, y'all have you a good day, and I'll see you here in a few minutes with another mail day opening. Later, everybody.
Peace out, everyone.